Everyone, remain calm.
Back for more, huh?
Oh, yeah. That's how it always starts. But then later there's running and screaming.
Somebody talk to me! What is happening?
Welcome to Jurassic World.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Jurassic Park Podcast.
How long is it going to take for that to spread around the globe?
You specialize in a subject nobody cares about anymore. You're about to be out of a job.
Look at you. Look at me. And look at you.
Hold on to your butts.
Well, we're back.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jurassic Park Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Jost, and we're here to discuss all things Jurassic, including the movies, TV shows, music, toys, and more. In episode 447, we're skipping all things Jurassic because today, Tom Jurassic joins for a quick episode about the end of Oak Street. We've both seen the film at this point, and we wanted to give you some thoughts, a review, and, obviously it's certainly a film that has a lot of crossover appeal to Jurassic fans, so we'll be diving into it today with full spoilers. We're going to dive into everything that happened in this film, so if you've not seen the film, please hit pause. Come back once you've seen the end of Oak Street, and the podcast will be there for you. But as always, we had a great time chatting together, so I hope you enjoy it. But before we stray too far, I did want to update everybody on the box office for the end of Oak Street. Myself and Tom were wondering what would that box office look like at the end of the weekend, and while the numbers are not totally official just yet, usually that comes the next day or so, the numbers is reporting that the end of Oak Street hit third place this weekend behind Spider-Man Brand New Day, The Odyssey, and then, yes, the end of Oak Street, followed by fourth place Paw Patrol, the Dino movie. So lots of dinosaur content this weekend coming out, and the end of Oak Street with 21 million. Paw Patrol, the Dino movie, with 20 million, their estimates. So, yeah, looking pretty good. I mean, obviously, those are no Jurassic totals. But you know what? Not everybody can be Jurassic. But good numbers, solid numbers, it seems like. And it's really tough when you're going up against Spider-Man Brand New Day, who, in its third weekend, made 70 million still. So really just killing it out there at the box office. So what can you expect? But good stuff from the end of Oak Street. And I also wanted to give a shout out to Mattel real quick for sending over the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive 25th anniversary collector's edition Hammond Collection comic style Velociraptor. Whew, that was a mouthful. I didn't order this one previously, but I certainly appreciate them looking out and sending one my way. I wasn't able to gather any intel from them as far as the artwork on the inside of the box. I know there was a lot of questions about that, but no insight there from myself. But and unfortunately, it is a sold out item already. So honestly, any promo I give it at this point, not really going to help. But they got their bank, and that's all that matters. But thanks again to Mattel. It's always a welcomed and appreciated gift here, so thank you so much. And, celebrate the 25th anniversary. Thanks, Mattel. And as always, please give a look to our live streams over on YouTube discussing all of the latest Jurassic news from around the world, Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. EST. Now, last week, I wasn't able to have a live stream. Sorry, I apologize. I didn't even let anybody know. I just kind of didn't do it. But we'll be back this week for one final summer stream here as summertime rounds out here just about. And please, if you want to, go give that a watch and give a call to our voicemail line if you have any thoughts or feelings on any recent Jurassic news, any thoughts still on Sam Neill, let me know. Call our voicemail line 732-825-7763, or you could email your voice memos or written thoughts to JurassicParkPod@gmail.com and let us know everything that you want to talk about. I'd love to hear it. But it is time, so let's go ahead and dive into our full spoiler thoughts on the end of Oak Street with Tom Jurassic.
anybody else see that weird light last night?
What weird light?
The wind was blowing all crazy. Starbuck was freaked out and barking.
Could have been lights from a helicopter.
Or a UFO? Aliens.
Shut up, Dad.
Water's not working.
Looks like the whole neighborhood's lost power.
What the hell is that?
We can't leave.
I think that our neighborhood, our house, our whole street has moved.
How the hell is that even possible?
Get out of there! Run!
What the hell's going on?
Get inside now!
I just heard a gunshot.
I don't need you to worry for me, 'cause I'm alright.
Gather supplies. Grab anything you can use as a weapon. What are we gonna do?
We're gonna survive. God's not gonna let us die here.
Greg, you only go to church at Christmas and now you're telling the kids God's looking out for us?
What about the people who are out there getting eaten?
I don't need you to worry for me, 'cause I'm alright.
All right, man. But we are going to be talking about the end of Oak Street here today. And I just got back from seeing it not too long ago. And you saw it. Was that still today when you saw that?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Today.
Okay.
Just
Maybe
about.
maybe we should get this out of the way first, because I know there's been a lot of like conversation about it. But the AI subject with
Yeah.
this movie, I think that's been on a lot of people's in the front of people's minds there. So I know I've been like less present online, so I haven't really seen any of that stuff. I know we had conversations
Yeah.
about the marketing, and you were saying like, oh, I'm not really seeing anything. But then when you did see it, was this AI garbage. And then I was saying like, I've seen tons of marketing for this movie, like all the time. Always, and I'm sure it's mostly because of what we do here, and a lot of my algorithm is probably
Yeah.
dinosaur centric. But I was kind of surprised to find out there was any sort of AI anything, because I didn't see that at all. I've been seeing tons of interviews with both Ewan McGregor and Anne Hathaway. I've seen
Yes.
like they've done things like these stunt things where they bring people to the house and like they scare them with dinosaurs and stuff like that. I've seen just constant trailers and imagery from this movie, so it's been pretty constant. But the AI thing, I saw it for a half a second when you sent it to me, and I was like, I'm gonna throw up. This is horrible looking. Let's turn it off.
Yeah.
So what is your
Yeah.
your situation been with the marketing and the AI stuff?
Yeah, so basically, to kind of get into it, I think at the end of the day, AI is going to be part of everything now, right? Like,
Yeah.
like I always say this to people all the time. It's like I will use tools like ChatGPT to sense check stuff that I've written sometimes, that kind of thing. I think that is just inherently where we are as a society, right? But where I think it takes it to an extreme is when you're using it to make artwork, you're using it to make video, you're using it to make imagery, because a lot of the time it has an uncanny effect and you can tell that it's ripping something else off. And with this, it was really obvious, because to call it exactly what it was, this was End of Oak Street's version of Dino Tracker. So basically what they did was had a series of clips of AI generated dinosaurs in different environments around the world. Now, it's really obvious where that's been taken from, and I think when you contrast the two different things and the two different approaches, there is a world where Warner Brothers could have done that in a much more grounded way that made use of viral marketing techniques without having to lean into cheap AI footage. And I think that's the issue with that kind of marketing, is what has probably happened in that case is they've prompted it and kind of gone, what could we do as an easy marketing campaign to hype up the film in different locations at the release of it. And obviously AI algorithms have looked online, seen what Jurassic's done, and just lifted it straight away. So I don't think that's okay. There was also then a whole thing with an AI dog on a podcast. Now this is... There's a whole mess around this because a lot of people were like, oh, well, it's not Warner Brothers who did it.
Yeah.
This is a podcast that exists anyway that's AI dogs, and Starbuck from the film was a guest on the podcast.
I hate
can't
everything
believe I'm
you're
talking about
saying.
Right
This
now.
is
What
the
hell
worst
is
thing
my
I've ever
life?
heard.
Yeah.
This is so bad.
But the point with Starbuck being a guest on it is initially it was done as a collaboration on Instagram, and obviously it was purely to promote the release of the film. So whether Warner Bros. Made it themselves or not, it's still a partnership that they've signed off on, and still somebody that they've contacted to say, can you promote our film? So I think what this has really shown across the board with the marketing is where the film's industry could very easily go very wrong very quickly if all of these marketing executives in entertainment think that they can use generative tools to skip budgets and create really quick advertising. Because I think what you saw was a film that had relatively penetrated the dinosaur kind of audience. I think there were people like you're saying you saw it a fair bit, people like me who hadn't seen it as much but were starting to warm up to it, who suddenly the real exposure point for them is that AI content, and it's such a turn off for so many people that you just don't need to be going down that route. So I don't think we need to talk about it any more than that, because I think to dwell on that would be a disservice to the film itself. But I would say I think the marketing team at Warner Brothers have done the film a disservice by choosing to market it in that way. And I hope they learn from this. And when it comes to something like this in the future, they put a little bit more thought into the content that they're sharing around it.
Absolutely agree 100%. That all sucks and it's horrible. Don't do it. But yeah, that's the world we live in, and we'll see what happens with other film studios if they do dive into that, and if it becomes a problem, overuse, we'll see. But hopefully this is the end here on Oak Street. But let's talk about the movie. I don't want to talk about AI dog podcasts anymore, so let's talk about the movie. And I just ran out of the house today. I got a moment to see it. I did not get to see it in IMAX. I really wanted to, but for some reason, IMAX has been all over the place recently near me. I've only got one that's kind of in my area. It's still 50 minutes away. But I recently saw, the Odyssey was there, and then Spider-Man took it over, because I was like, all right, I'm going to go see the Odyssey after I saw Spider-Man. And then I'm like, oh, it's not even in IMAX anymore. Come on, what's happening? So I couldn't see Odyssey in IMAX because Spider-Man took over 1 week after it released. And then, all right, so then I was like, all right, well, I'm going to go see The End of Oak Street in IMAX. And then I looked, because it's supposed to come out in IMAX today, and the Odyssey's back in. I'm like, what's happening? When am I going to get to see stuff that I want to see on the week that I want to see it? Yeah. But I saw it in a regular theater, and good audio and everything, so I was happy with that. People, if you're going to a theater, shut up, okay? Stop talking. Stop talking to everyone.
Oh, I had somebody who kept turning their phone on every 15 minutes.
It's unbelievable,
I had to really resist the urge to shout.
I didn't say anything this time. I know I did say something last year when Rebirth came out to a bunch of kids that were being obnoxious. But people, have some etiquette when you're in the theaters, please. But I all that being said, I did enjoy this movie. I had a great time with it, and I'll say just briefly, it's different than Jurassic, right? It's not satisfying that Jurassic itch for me. It's a bit different than Jurassic, but it's fun and it's exciting, and it's the kind of movie I like to see. And And but it's so different than Jurassic to me that it's like it's not really satisfying that same itch, which is weird saying after Rebirth has been a thing. But I want to get into it more. But what are your kind of initial thoughts on the movie?
So I've got positives and negatives that we can dive into as we get through this. But I think overall it's interesting you say it didn't scratch that Jurassic itch for you, because I think when I was sat watching it, it kind of almost felt like a proof of concept to me in terms of doing like an anthology, where it's like, this is just one location, one set of characters. We're going to bed in and see their experience of how they survive this situation. Now, granted, there's multiple dinosaurs, and we do need to talk about multiple dinosaurs because they don't quite make sense. But beyond there being multiple dinosaurs, I just kind of, this is exactly what Jurassic could have done. Like, this is the direction it could have gone in, right? You have something that is fundamentally residential chaos with dinosaurs. And when you think about where Chaos Theory and Dominion left us, this is kind of the direction I was hoping we were going to go in. So in a weird way, I sort of hope Universal see this and go, oh, actually, maybe self-contained dinosaur stories do work.
I want to talk about that. We'll save that for the end because I want to talk about like how Universal can what they're going to learn from this, if anything. But yeah, no, I agree there. Like, don't get me wrong. I think we need a Jurassic story in this kind of vein, like isolated, neighborhood kind of story for sure. But there was a lot about it that was very un-Jurassic to me, and just visually, and storytelling wise, and all that. It did feel very not very Jurassic in that way. So to me, it didn't. I wouldn't have like. I don't know. I would like a intense Jurassic movie, but I think like this one is certainly more brutal at times. It's not. Yes. Well, I don't know if I even want to go that far, because I think when I'm thinking about
the
Jurassic,
word I've been using, Brad.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say the word I've been using that I think it does that I think Jurassic doesn't do is shock. I think this is a lot more shocking. That's a better way to say Jurassic is quite predictable. Like, you kind of have a sense of where you're going from the very beginning with Jurassic.
That's 100% the thing I was trying to convey there. Yes, it's way more shocking of a film because everybody's obviously comparing it to Jurassic right now on social media or wherever, saying that like I've seen a lot of, this is the best dinosaur movie since the first Jurassic Park, that kind of stuff. This one is way more brutal and gory and all this stuff. I don't know that I agree that it's necessarily more gory. It's like slightly more gory. It's really not all that much of a difference to me. Like, luckily, Tim in our group chat was kind enough to say like, don't bring your kid to this. I was happy that he said that. So my son's 9 years old.
Just so you know, there's a world where he was joining us for this podcast. I did message to see if he was around, and he's not. But he was like, "I really appreciate you asking."
I would have gotten him everybody as many people as I could, but my time is like very limited here this week, so I didn't really get a chance. So I'm like, Tom, it might be available. Let me just ask Tom. But yeah, I do appreciate him telling me that, because my son really did want to see this movie based off the trailers and everything. Well, I don't even know. Was this PG-13? Do you know that information?
Yes. Yeah, I think it was 12A here. So
okay. Oh, yeah. Yours is different, I guess. But like, it was definitely not the kind of movie, like Tim had said, it's got that Jaws style violence or gore. And I was like, okay, we had just decided like the other day, we're not going to show the kids Jaws just yet. And I was happy with that choice. I think it was a good choice. I know it's different for everybody, but.
So the thing that really stood out to me when I was watching it that kind of ties into that, and I was just sat there thinking, this is kind of what you don't see in Jurassic. And I was talking to my dad about this in the car on the back, actually, is Jurassic, the like incidents were always very clinical. So it's very much like even Wheatley, when he gets his arm bitten off, there's not a huge amount of blood or anything. Like, there's no arterial spray or that kind of stuff. And it all feels over quite quickly. Whereas what I really picked up on with this was like the little details, like bodies lying around, that kind of stuff. I just really noticed that, because I think that to the point of the Jurassic comparison, like even when there's been this massive incident on Main Street in Jurassic World, there's nobody dead there afterwards. It's entirely abandoned, and that's where I think this is quite different. It's like you get this sense that there is immediate consequence to what's unfolding in this world, and actually there is lasting damage that's happening.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. And we'll talk full spoilers here, so hopefully I'll remember to warn everybody ahead of time in the opening and stuff. But like, yeah, for instance, Ewan McGregor, shock value, dude, shock value there.
Yes.
So I'll say like the trailer did show him getting grabbed in the foot by the Spinosaurus, or no, whatever. What was that? It wasn't the Spinosaurus. It was the whatever that dinosaur was. Allosaurus. But I was like, okay, well, he's not getting out of this. Like I said that watching the trailer. So I wasn't necessarily shocked that I guess I was shocked because he got his whole half of his foot or his leg bit off. And I was like, oh my God. Like, yes, there's like the whole bloody thing. It's a little hazy. It's not like fully gore or anything, but it's brutal, but that was shocking to me. And then the full death of him, completely shocking in that moment.
And the thing I think is like the staging of it, because it's really funny. It almost felt like a parody of like something Owen Grady would do at first, where you have him hitting this Allosaurus with a sledgehammer, and I was kind of sat there like, oh God, this is going to be the Goofy moment. He's going to hit it and then somehow get away in time, and that will be that. Or like doesn't he hit it and it fakes being unconscious at first?
I groaned kind of audibly in that moment because he hit it with the sledgehammer in the face or something, and then it knocked out. I'm like, really? Come on. Like even to the extent that it did, I thought that was a little silly. But then it got up and was angry and then killed him. So
it gets up, and that's where I feel like that I think perfectly encapsulates the tonal difference, because if that was a Jurassic film, it would have cut at the animal being knocked off and then they would have run away. And that would have been it. Whereas this film was like, no, actually, this is an unrealistic scenario. We're going to show you what really happens. And I think it does it very viscerally as well, where you have these kids watching their dad being eaten by a dinosaur. You get the emotion from that. You get the emotion of this character who, his wife, I mean, the whole sort of premise of the family plot is there's tension in the marriage and there's questions about whether there's going to be a divorce and all of this kind of thing. So to know in that moment that this tension is broken because there's now no remediation, the option for that is completely gone, I thought it was handled really, really well. And I think it had that kind of emotional depth to a death that I know I've constantly been asking for with Jurassic. Importance of consequence, and it feels like it really delivered on it.
Yeah, 100%. I really loved that moment when he was chomped, and it wasn't just like a bite and then he's gone. Like a lot of times in Jurassic, somebody will get like eaten real
like
quick.
Feeding on him.
He was feeding. He was down there, like just gnawing away at him, and it wasn't done. So it gave Anne Hathaway. Here's also the other thing. I don't know one of these characters' names. Not at all. I don't know if they told us. I don't know at all. But it gave her a moment to like stand there in shock and see what's happening, and then also kind of like stumble away in this way of like, oh wow, I don't even care if I get eaten in this moment. This is it. This is the end. This is the end of Oak Tree. Like it was so raw and so brutal in that moment, and then like the like kind of corralling the rest of the kids that were over there. It was kind of brutal in the way that it handled that. So that very much on Jurassic in that way. So I think when it comes to Jurassic, I'm expecting that more, a little bit more family friendly kind of vibe. I like a little bit of chaos and brutality to a certain extent, but to be able to take your kid to see something is a lot better in my eyes. But let's talk about one other scene, because Jurassic World Rebirth was this close to doing it. And and this movie did it. in a very intense way with a photograph of Ewan McGregor against. We'll not get too graphic here, but there's a photograph of Ewan McGregor against two dinosaurs in the background, and I was
and
like,
the dinosaurs are against each other.
they are doing something and some kind of dance in the background, and I was in that moment. I was very happy that Rebirth did not go that far with what they had maybe intended to do.
They held that moment far too long.
It was.
Like, I was just like, "What are we doing?"
It was a bit much. And but like, natural, I guess. But like, still didn't need to see it for that long. And so it was a nice bit of levity, a comedic moment there in that pure chaos. It's like, they even say something along the lines of like, we shouldn't be laughing at this moment or something. And that was funny. But most of the time it's not a very funny movie.
No, a lot of the time it is serious. On that moment, I want to just pull us into dinosaurs quickly, because I feel like it's the strongest and also weakest element of this film at the same time, where the dinosaur designs are all over the place. There's some stuff that feels relatively consistent with what we would expect, and there's some stuff where it's like, what the hell am I even looking at? But also, I kind of what really bothers me with this kind of film, and I was talking to it was actually Tim I was talking to about this. I was saying, like, with a film like Jurassic, you can get away with doing dinosaurs and prehistoric animals from different eras because the whole idea is they've been brought back. With this film, if you're time traveling to a specific era, I think you have to put the restraints on yourself a bit more to kind of be accurate to that. So Spinosaurus did not exist at the same time as Allosaurus. I'm sure I saw Carnotaurus in the background of one of the shots. Titanoboa again existed at another completely different time, so the kind of like paleontological dating was just pretty much non-existent.
It created a world I thought was pretty interesting, and that's the kind of stuff that I don't really care about when it comes to Jurassic, when it comes to whatever. Like, that's not phasing me too much, but I could assume that a lot of people would be bugged about that. But I thought the dinosaurs all looked pretty cool. I think for the most part, like, I really liked how they all looked. Like I said before, I was like, what was that one? Was it an Allosaurus? Okay. It was interesting because this was a movie where there was no dinosaur expert. Like, we're used to kind of a movie where somebody is able to say, that's Gallimimus or Titanosaurus or whatever,
So they teed that up because
they did.
Brian, so I remember 3 of the characters' names. There was Debbie's Anne Hathaway, Jerry is Ewan McGregor, and then Brian is their son. And there's this scene where you see him reading a dinosaur book. So I was like, oh, is this how we're going to get the species named going forward? Never referenced the fact that he sat and read that book again.
No, and I think they focused on a Torosaurus or something in that moment. And
yes,
I don't think they showed that dinosaur at all anywhere.
No.
And that's another thing that this movie does so differently than Jurassic is, like, Jurassic will at least give you a moment of like, wow, isn't this nice? Dinosaurs being able to live at the same time as dinosaurs. This movie does not give you that. It almost gives you it because there's like I don't know, like an ankylosaur kind of dinosaur. I don't know what that was, but
I thought
like
it was a turtle at first.
Well, no. There are like the big turtles, but there was something else that gets eaten by the Allosaurus, maybe, or Spinosaurus.
Yes, I think it is
I don't know what it was.
Yeah,
it's some sort of dinosaur like that, and I was like, "Oh, is that Bumpy?" And I'm like, it just like destroys it. So it doesn't really give you that moment of like pause where you're like, "Wow, this could be nice." Like, I could have seen a moment where the family were like kind of playing with a dinosaur in their backyard or something at first, and then bam, here comes the mom or something like that, and it just caused chaos. But yeah, they didn't really give you that. But I did like the dinosaurs, the raptors, whatever they were. I thought they were pretty terrifying, pretty well done. And whatever the Pteranodon, the flying guys at the end, I don't know what they were, but that was a pretty fun sequence.
I don't think it was, but it looked very similar to Ramphosinkus. But it had the
Tapioir, like those kind of like
Ramphosinkus doesn't have.
Yeah, some large beaked snout. It's not on the list. I'm not sure, but
this is another moment where I kind of, because of I mean, we have this conversation all the time, right, of what we want out of Jurassic and what we want out of dinosaur films, and I think the biggest thing for me is always for nothing to be like super easy, because life isn't. Like, stuff does go wrong, people do get killed, especially when it's deadly animals. And again, you reference the pteranodons. The gate closing when Brian tries to jump through it is another moment where I was like, oh, that actually feels really like you've broken a kid's leg in a film. That doesn't feel like something that you would normally do. And I just liked that it felt like this film was willing to take a few more risks with how far it would ratchet the stakes.
Yeah, for sure. Very human moments throughout. Very human moments throughout this whole thing. That was one of them. The other moment where like the kid's getting beat up by the bullies or the kid. No, I guess they weren't really. I mean, they were kind of bullies, but like he did break the kid's arm or something by throwing a stick through the pegs of the bike. So that was a very human moment where like the kid with the arm broken was like, stop, just stop. We don't need. And then even the kid who was beating him up, he's like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, I'm sorry. Like they just like leave. And there's moments like that. There's a lot of characters that you come across throughout this thing that play into it, like the librarian getting just wrecked.
Yeah.
You know, I was surprised that neighbor did not get wrecked by a dinosaur. That like jerk neighbor of theirs. That in the end,
wait,
like,
are you talking about Marv?
I don't know what his name was. I've told you
the like guy who had the revolver. The guy who's so he
did he?
So what is your perception of what happened to him? Do you think he just survived and that's it?
I never saw him. I feel like I never saw him after
Dude, he got such a brutal death.
Did he? I do not remember seeing
he's
that.
One of the first deaths, so Debbie and Jerry are looking out of the window, and do you remember the scene where the I'm going to call it a brachiosaur, it's not, but the big dinosaur brushes against their house and it makes all the noise. Yeah. They're like looking out. He is shooting at the sauropod. And while he's doing that, those same pterosaurs start circling him and they slowly like stab at him. So one of them stabs him. So he like gets injured and then they all pounce on him.
I went to the bathroom.
Go on.
That's what happened. That's why I did not see that. I thought I went to the bathroom at a good part. I'm like, man, I thought I could hold this, but I can't. So I left when they were like having like the two parents were having a conversation in their bed. And then the next thing I know, it's like they're arguing when I come back in the theater. So I'm like, okay, I didn't really miss anything. It must have been right there.
No, he got killed. Yeah. Okay. He got killed by the pterosaurs.
Okay, well, so
guys,
I didn't
this
see
is
that.
why I'm on the podcast as well. I don't miss the important character death moments.
Yeah, that would have been really, really satisfying, but I could not take it. I'm like, it's going to be so distracting. I need to go right now. But yeah, so a lot of human moments, though. I think it was nice to see.
Yeah. Because the end, to kind of jump forward a little bit, the ending with the kind of video clips of the different people, that's very deliberate. So that's why he's in that, because it's the people that they've seen die. So it's then like the people that they have saved as a result of that.
That makes a lot more sense now. And I did like that. You know, I let's talk about the concept of this all, because like it's really cool. I mean, they make mention of the solar flares and stuff that are like hurtling towards Earth, and we get these flashing of light in the backyards or wherever, and then then this just kind of happens. Like you get little plants, and then there was something else that happened. The pressure was like going through the ground, the water, and then the entire neighborhood is transported. Oh yes, that was the other one, the one big pile. Yeah. I was like, man, they're really treading on some Jurassic territory with some of these things here. But yeah, that was funny. That was a good one. And the entire neighborhood obviously transports, time travels because of, I guess, these solar flares and whatnot. But it created these portals, these wormholes, I guess, through time.
Yeah.
And I really like that the fact that they stumbled upon one in the house, and the way that it like as a circular, portal, it like left the circular edging around the house and stuff like that when it disappeared. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And the fact that you could like see like a watery like through this bubble and like into the reality on the other side was really cool. And then not knowing
I'm
and
laughing
just kind of jumping
because you've not watched it yet.
I know it sounds very
You've
much
not
like
watched it
Primeval.
yet,
I'm
but those
assuming.
bubbles are exactly like the anomalies in Primeval. Yeah,
I was figuring that as well because it's it's very. It felt like a very TV concept in a lot of ways to me. But yeah, I thought it was pretty well done, and the fact that they were able to get through there, and then even still, I was wondering. Because I'm like, well, even if they do get through, I was like, is there a way that like they could still save some? And I didn't really consider the option that like it would send them through a few minutes before. This was very much a Back to the Future move,
like time travel.
Yeah, I love that. Back to the Future is like, all right, I'm gonna set it 10 minutes. I'll get back and I'll be able to save Doc, and I'll tell him to look out for the shots or whatever. And it's like kind of fighting against those 10 minutes of time or whatever in Back to the Future. Same thing happens here. And she's able to save her husband, do a pizza call, which I was like, that was great. I love that. Called the pizza place, ordered a pizza to this house up on the hill.
Yeah.
So it was kind of unraveling as it was happening. Like you had to kind of go with it because I really wasn't sure what were the parameters. Like, where are they in relation to the bubble? Like how much is getting, transported back. So it was kind of, I wasn't fully sure because they obviously transported back up that hill, but I guess they stepped just beyond it in order to be safe. So that was pretty cool though.
It was interesting. I like the idea that she had enough time to call the people who she knew were caught up in it as well, and kind of get them to leave. I thought that was quite cool. I did think it would have been more interesting if they left it on a bit of a cliffhanger about what happened to the other girl. So obviously the other girl goes through first and they're like, oh, she's not here. And then she emerges eventually and they realize she's just been like hiding and waiting for them. I did think initially, I was like, oh, are they going to do a thing where they leave it open that these guys have come back where they're meant to be, but she's gone somewhere else? That would have been quite cool. I would have found that interesting. I find the whole concept really interesting as well because it's not really explained. Like this is very much, ironically, and I won't say too many spoilers on this because I know you've not seen it. But my biggest gripe with Disclosure Day is that it's very much a film that drops you in without telling you anything and is like then expecting you to go along for the ride.
I love
that. That's
though.
the kind of film. I think it works here. I don't think it works in Disclosure Day. I think Disclosure Day kind of gets too in its own head about the fact that it's that kind of film, whereas I think here it works really well because you're kind of left with little threads of sort of speculation and stuff. Like the thing I found the most interesting was, did you notice the visual effect for when it like teleports in time was very similar to the shape and overall aesthetic of the atom bomb? I found that fascinating with the way that kind of mushroom cloud happened, because I was like, well, this almost looks man-made. So it then kind of leaves a lot more questions up in the air. And I love that. I think there's something really fun about this kind of like era of 80s, 90s, whatever, sort of like mystery drama, right? Like Stranger Things, X-Files, all of those kinds of things. I kind of feel like this almost leans into that, where you're like, oh, the government have responded to this and sorted it all out very quickly. Did they know that something was going on here? And I just love that. I love that kind of open-endedness to it.
Have you seen the show Dark on Netflix?
No.
Oh, you should probably check that out then. I feel like you would very much like that. If you like this concept and the different eras and the governmental like kind of working with that and maybe causing it kind of thing, then yeah, you might like that. But that's kind of the vibe. Yeah. Cool. I do understand what you're saying there, because it does feel like maybe there could be more to this than than we understand at the moment. Like, with
Yeah.
these solar flares, I mean, look, we hear about solar flares all the time and like what damage it could do, you always wonder, like, what if it did do something weird like this? So you know, it
Yeah.
works, I think, on that level alone. I don't really need any further information than that. But what I do wonder about is the future. I think they perfectly leave this open to the potential for more stories to be told, because not only were they able to go back to like a safe time and everything's fine, but then like I didn't know what was going to happen next. Like the fact that it just transposed the past with the present and swapped them, I thought that was pretty interesting, and it's a cool setup for the future where, like, you know, oh, now this could happen at any point, anywhere. We don't really know if more flares are going to happen. You know, we could have more pockets like this popping up all over the world. And you know, how are we going to contain all of that? I think that's pretty cool. And it was interesting that they left it that way, that they didn't just, that I could have seen a world where like something happened, surrounded that neighborhood, but then the neighborhood stayed intact and it was fine. Everything within it just kind of transported, but then still it was like a mirror dimension kind of thing. But they didn't. They actually just completely removed the whole neighborhood for good, which was pretty interesting. I thought that was cool.
It was pretty cool. I kind of, do you know what? I go back and forth on this because I think it's that tricky thing, isn't it? Of when you've had a good thing, you want more of it. But I think if you have more of it, it's easy to get diluted. I mean, look at the Jurassic World franchise. But I just think, like, I'd be fine if this is a one and done. Like, I really would, because I think the way it wraps up at the end, you just know that there's this world left now that is dealing with a small neighborhood, like neighborhood-sized area that is now filled with dinosaurs and eco-fauna from the prehistoric times, and that's just quite a cool concept to leave it on.
Yeah, I agree. So what do you think, you brought it up earlier about like Universal and everything. What do you think Universal is going to learn from this? I mean, we don't really know what the box office is going to be just yet. I haven't really looked at projections too much, but what do you think? And this is going to come out when we do know those answers, so maybe I'll update it. But what do you think Universal is going to learn from this movie?
Do you know what? I think, sadly, I don't think they'll take much notice of it. I think to kind of not get into the weeds too much on this, but that, I mean, we've spoken about this on Messenger at length. The fact that we have got the same scriptwriter back for the Rebirth sequel kind of makes me feel like they're not necessarily fully in touch with the reception to their projects and the feelings of their communities. So I kind of feel like even if the community's raving about this, it maybe won't have that much of an impact. I think the one thing I could potentially see is maybe they go, okay, there's scope for more things like Battle at Big Rock, because that's really what this falls into, is that kind of familial group of characters who are then dealing with sort of a dinosaur encounter in a everyday environment. I could potentially see more of that, but then I think where the timeline is right now, we're kind of past all of that, so it would be weird for them to go back to it. So I don't know if they'll learn much from it, apart from not using AI in their marketing.
Please, Universal, don't do it. Don't go down that route. And any companies you work with, maybe video game companies or otherwise, tell them to not use it as well. You know, have everybody, you know, do the right thing here.
Yeah, maybe tell them to get a new CEO as well.
Yeah,
you know?
maybe. Yeah, that would be good. But I hope that they look at what this does. Hopefully, it makes some money here and you know, is popular. There was a lot of people at the showing I was at, which is surprising, during the day, and I hope it does well, because I want to see smaller stories like this throughout Jurassic. I mean, I've been saying this for years. You've been saying this.
Yeah.
We've all been saying this. I don't want them to learn that we need a darker, more gory, brutal, or whatever. I don't want them to learn that. I want them to learn, okay, here's a cool core group of characters that we kind of latched on to right away. Like I was into these characters from the start. You know, once we start, like, we're at that party, like the block party thing, I thought this was a great start to the movie. The era, I love the era. Hey, Universal, you want to go back in time? Yeah, do it. Go back to the 90s. Get more of that, you know, era specific genre kind of thing, I think that would be awesome. So learn from that, do that. Like we've been trying to say for like the Monarch TV show, learn from that, do the time travel not time travel, but the time eras and stuff like that. Swap times, like go to the past, go to the future, but like not time travel-y. Like just show what those worlds are like. But yeah, I hope they learn something from this, and I don't know. I'm not sure what that is, but hopefully they don't take the wrong lessons here or something, you know. People love AI dog podcasts. We should do it.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait for the AI. I can't wait for the AI generated Dolores podcast. It's going to be fantastic.
Oh my God. No, it's coming. But yeah, I mean, we don't have Gareth Edwards anymore, so maybe he'll do the end of Oak Street too.
Yeah. Imagine that. Oh my gosh, somehow this portal spat us out and I'll Saint Hubert.
Well, it was funny that like Michael Giacchino was here. I didn't realize Michael Giacchino was doing the score. So
the score, I did because there were moments like there's this one moment that sticks in my mind, which is there's a moment where the son is in the garage and the Allosaurus is coming in and it's trying to eat him.
Yes,
and the way he was escalating the notes was exactly like how he would escalate the notes in some of the Jurassic score, and I was like, okay, the DNA is right there.
Well, no, let me say it again. When I was watching the movie, I knew, but before the movie, I had no clue. When his name popped up, I was like, oh my God, Michael Giacchino, that's amazing. And it's so I'm really excited that he's able to do another dinosaur score. And like you're saying, though, there is a lot of carryover. Like you could hear like those big, impactful, crazy moments are very, very Jurassic at times. But you know what? I was getting so much Lost from this. This felt like he was tapping back into what he did on the Lost soundtrack. It sounded so much like that. And it was kind of like that. I felt like Bad Robot obviously involved, Michael Giacchino involved. So it felt like this is like a JJ, kind of way to film. I know it wasn't, he didn't film it or anything, but like it felt like Lost a lot of the times when characters are coming together and, celebrating their little successes, and the emotion of it felt very Lost to me, and the music had a lot to do with that. So Michael Giacchino did another great score. I'm excited to listen to this one on repeat. So I think he did a great job.
I feel like now is probably the time to say that reference was largely lost on me because I've never actually watched Lost. So it is something I need to change.
You do that. I'll do Primeval, and we'll swap stories at the end of it. But hey, man,
I'm here for it.
let's wrap this up and get out of here. I had a great time with this movie, talking with you about it. Any final thoughts here in regards to the end of Oak Street?
Good dinosaur film. It's nice to have a dinosaur film that just feels good. Like, I think a lot of the scores I've seen are like 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, and I think that feels pretty fair. So I'm just glad that we have a competently made dinosaur film, because I think, and I always say this, more competition is good. And if we get more well-made dinosaur films, then hopefully that will trickle down into the franchise we all love as well.
Yeah, make them push to do better, or, because personally, I've always liked the Jurassic movies. Like, I would rather watch a Jurassic movie in this case. But like, if they can make them do better in any regard, I'm all for that. Like let's make the world a little bit better with dinosaurs. And I think I've seen a couple like 2s and 2.5s, and I was surprised by that star ranking out of 5, like for this movie. So for me, I think this is probably going to land at like a 4. I don't know if I would go above that, but I think it was a lot of fun. I just was lacking that Jurassic vibe for me. And I know it's not a Jurassic movie, but like when it comes to dinosaurs, I think that's what really does it. Like I'm fully on board with the Jurassic, train, and I have gripes and things with those movies as well. But like, I think this one is an excellent movie. It just didn't fully scratch that Jurassic itch for me, and that's okay because it's not a Jurassic movie. So, but think about it twice before you bring your kids. And that's why I watched it ahead of time. I'm like, okay, I'm good. Maybe in a few years. So thanks, Tom.
It's why you brought your adult kid who is across the pond.
I was going to say, thanks, Tom. I should have asked like if you were comfortable seeing this movie ahead of time, but you know what?
Yeah.
You did it. Anyway,
and I did it on my own, no less.
You did it on. Oh wow, all by yourself. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Where can people find you? What are you up to? What's going
on? You can find me at Tom_Jurassic on social media, and at Jurassic Collectibles on YouTube. And currently, you will also find me in a melted pool of human matter because it is so hot in the UK. I told Brad I've turned my fan off for this recording. I'm looking at it. I can't wait for it to be back on. I'm so excited.
Go turn that fan on, man. Stay cool. Stay Jurassic.
Life will not be contained. Life breaks free, it expands to new territories, and crashes through barriers painfully, maybe even dangerously, but, well, there it is. There it is. I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
That'll do it for another episode of the Jurassic Park Podcast. We appreciate each and every one of you for listening in and sharing in our love of, I was going to say the Jurassic franchise, as I usually do, but this week, other dinosaur media, whether that's the Paw Patrol movie, the Dino, what was it called again? The Dino, Paw Patrol, the Dino movie or something. But we didn't talk about that today. We talked about the end of Oak Street. Just so happens that there's 2 dinosaur movies at the box office this weekend. But you know what? The end of Oak Street, good stuff. So shout out to Warner Brothers for having the nerve to challenge Jurassic when it comes to dinosaur media. And I know there's been some other stuff out there, but certainly not in the same kind of conversation as something like Jurassic or the end of Oak Street. And I know there's been a lot of that kind of conversation happening in social media about, oh, this movie's better than that movie, and there hasn't been a good dinosaur movie in 30 years. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Stop with that nonsense. I think this was an excellent movie, pretty great, but, certainly didn't have that Jurassic thing for me, but it's always good to have competition out there in the marketplace, and it makes me wonder what we're going to see moving forward. Is there going to be any change from Universal? Is there going to be any head-to-head box office in coming years or anything like that? Are they going to make more of these movies? Who knows? But it was great to see, and I feel like finally I was excited about another dinosaur thing that wasn't Jurassic. So props to Warner Brothers and the end of Oak Street for creating something pretty cool. And also a big shout out to Tom Jurassic for joining me kind of last minute here. I was like, oh, he saw the movie. Let's talk about it. We had no plans to do this, and I didn't have much of any time to talk about it, but I appreciate Tom for sitting down for a little bit, giving his obviously wealth of knowledge and thoughts on this movie, and I always appreciate Tom and any time he spends here on the show. So thanks to Tom. But speaking of Tom, I did want to do this again. I did it last week, and I know I say I try to do it from time to time, but over on Apple Podcasts, we have some reviews to read. So this is something everybody out there can do. You can head over to Apple Podcasts and write a review. Leave a 5-star review if you want to. You don't have to. If you think it's not worth that, certainly tell me. But we love the 5-star reviews, but you can always write something, and I will read them here on the show. And today, I've got 2 reviews, actually. One for this podcast and one for my other podcast, Grim Grinning Hosts. You'll see. Just bear with me here for a second. But this review comes from Jurassic Joey 17, left this past June. 5 stars. The subject says, Tom is great. Shout out, Tom. You are great, it says there. The body here says, Tom is great, but the rest, ... LOL. Brad doesn't seem to care anymore. I'll go elsewhere, and I suggest Tom do the same. Sorry, Tom. I think you're stuck here, maybe? I don't know. Jurassic Joey wants you to go elsewhere. I don't care anymore, apparently. But you know what, Jurassic Joey? I appreciate you giving 5 stars. That's what matters. I appreciate it. You didn't have to do that. It doesn't seem like you like the show very much, but you like Tom. And that's why we got Tom here, because Tom is delightful. Tom is knowledgeable. Tom cares. He definitely cares. And, Tom pops up here and there on other places. So follow Tom whenever you can. And yes, if you don't like our show, I can understand. It's not for everybody, or me, I guess. But I did want to go ahead and read that other review that was over on Apple Podcasts as well. And this is also from Jurassic Joey. I noticed Jurassic Joey 17 must have listened to both shows. And this one is actually, I gotta say, this one's a 1-star review. And the subject here says, eh. And the body here says, everyone is not loving Mando movie. Brad likes everything, even with Jurassic. He'd be a good influencer hired only to talk about positive, knowing there's a lot of negative. It's like he's afraid to dislike anything ever. It's okay for him to at least admit one thing he dislikes about something. That's the end of the review. So Jurassic Joey does not like Grim Grinning Host, gave us 1-star review, but 5 stars for Jurassic Park Podcast. I appreciate it. And you know what? As far as liking everything, I state that as like a kind of like an opening statement to a lot of the things that I talk about. I think I am an unabashed like lover of Star Wars, a lover of Jurassic. Like, I love these things. That's what I'm here for. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I step up to the mic and talk about theme parks and talk about movies and TV shows and whatever it is, whether it is Jurassic or the end of Oak Street or whatever. I just love this stuff. And I'll be honest, I do find it rare that I super dislike something. And it's not because I'm trying to be a shill. I'm really not. For the most part, I like the merchandise I'm sent. I don't really have a lot of issues. I tell people, I don't necessarily care about dinosaurs too much. So when Mattel sends me something that other people are saying, I don't like the way this looks, I'm like, you know what? It's fine. It looks good to me. I don't really care. It doesn't bother me. And the Jurassic movies, I know a lot of people dislike them, but you know what? I just don't. I like them. There's plenty of content out there that I dislike, but I don't need to talk about it, and I think that's what a lot of, social media and a lot of YouTube and a lot of stuff like that is these days is, oh, I hate this thing. I don't like this thing. This thing stinks. Get it out of here. And it creates this drama and resharing and all this stuff that everybody obviously has to continue. And I don't really like to be a part of that necessarily. I do tell you when I don't like things, and Jurassic Joey didn't seem to listen to many of the episodes, I guess, over the past year where I talked about Jurassic World Rebirth, where I said I didn't like a lot of that movie. I really don't. I talked about it often. I talked about it all the time. And I certainly do that on Grim Grinning Host as well. I talk about a lot of things that I dislike pretty often, but it honestly does get tiring from my perspective, talking about these things. I don't want to sit here and talk about how I dislike this or that about Rebirth. I do. I still mention it, but I'm not going to try to harp on it every time we talk. And honestly, the last episode was a good example of what I like to try to do. And the episode was myself and Jay Jurassic talking about Jurassic Park 3. We were focusing on the positives. That's what I wanted to do. I didn't really want to focus on any of the negatives of that movie. I have a lot. I have a lot of negatives about that movie. And I've certainly said them all over and over and over again. But you know what? You don't always need to. Sometimes you can focus on all the great stuff about what you like. I think the world is pretty, rough as it is. And I don't think everybody needs to sit here and listen to me talk about all the things that I hate. So I hope everybody else gets the chance to enjoy things. And if you love everything, great. I got no problem with that. Nothing at all. I really don't. And you know what I've come to learn is like, as I've gotten older, like I used to say like, I don't like that style of music or I don't like this or that. But like somebody does, you know, somebody out there likes that stuff. And I try to tell my kids this. I try to say like, if other kids hear you saying like, oh, that music stinks, you're going to make them feel bad. You're going to make that kid feel bad. So don't do that. You know, don't make somebody else feel bad for liking things that they like. That's the way I see it. You know, try to make everybody feel positive. And I guess me trying to do that is not working for Jurassic Joey. Certainly not feeling positive. But you know what? I appreciate the feedback no matter what. And you know what? If it's not for you, it's not for you. And I can understand that as well. But as always, if anybody out there wants to leave a review, please head over to Apple Podcasts and I will read them here. And I don't care if they're good or bad. It doesn't really matter to me. Like, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And yeah, you know what? That's all you can do. But you know what you can do is you can go over to Instagram, Facebook, or Threads to continue the conversation from this episode. And please subscribe to my newsletter that I never do for all things Jurassic, movies, TV shows, my podcast, and other thoughts and appearances. You can find the link to that newsletter on JurassicParkPodcast.com/newsletter. And thank you, as always, to our podcast host, Podomatic, for giving us a place to upload the podcast each and every week. Everybody out there, please, just know that you matter. Stay safe, be kind, fight for representation, change, and equality in the Jurassic franchise, but more importantly, outside of it in the real world, where we just gotta love things. We just gotta be happy. We just gotta enjoy things. It's something that I think everybody needs to do these days. So let's try to make the world a better place together. I'm gonna go ahead and hand things off to myself for the outro. Take it away.
Saddle up! Let's get this movable feast underway.
Continue the conversation with us on Threads, Facebook, and Instagram. Watch our content over on YouTube. Find us on the web at JurassicParkPodcast.com. You'll find today's episode show notes, articles, and so much more. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podomatic, our website, or wherever else podcasts are found. So be sure to follow along and share with your friends, family, and fellow Jurassic fans. If you haven't already, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We will read your Apple reviews at the end of most episodes, so please be sure to spare no expense. Don't miss our Wednesday night live streams on our YouTube channel. If you want to get a hold of us, you can fill out the contact form on our website or send emails and MP3s to JurassicParkPod@gmail.com. Feel free to call our voicemail line at any time to leave us a message or just say hi. That number is 732-825-7763. Thank you so much for listening, and enjoy.
Five minutes. Drop what you're doing and leave now.